say hi? Hey, everybody. Vin, let me say hi to you all. Um,
Hi,
well,
Kathy.
I wasn't talking to you.
Oh, well, she's talking to you guys. She wasn't talking to me.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to GenHex. We have our usual trigger warnings that we are going to make light of things that might be, yeah, yeah, might be upsetting. But it's not because we don't care. It's because we can't help ourselves. Um, and I am going to get a little serious here for a moment. I am actually dedicating this podcast to a very good friend of mine who has recently, this Sunday, passed away. His name was Jansen Lohmeyer. He was the pianist and lead singer of a band on Bourbon Street called the Daywalkers. He was only 43 years old, so that's
Mm,
really
that's so young.
hard and I'm really processing. But being a musician, I just wanted to sort of honor him. Especially, I think he would fully appreciate that we're going into backmasking and hidden messages. And as an aside, if since you're on YouTube anyway, type in the
Mhm.
Bonoffs, because that was his old band, and type in uh, "Who Stole My Chicken." There is a live video of him on Bourbon Street with his band at that time, the Bonoffs. He's the one on the keyboards. It is a great song. Who Stole My Chicken? So anyway, love you, Jansen. Going to miss you a lot. New Orleans will actually never be the same for me. But with those little bit of heavy notes, we're going to go on to something that's going right along with what we have been doing, which is the ridiculous beliefs of the 70s and 80s about anything that adults didn't understand.
First, you're gonna have to do something with your hair because I can't that thing you had this one piece I just now noticed.
It does that all the time. You had to
It
do
was
it
like
last time.
it was like this, perfectly like this, and I
I
just
don't,
couldn't stop looking at it.
well,
Okay, you're good.
I also have bedhead, so I did take a
You're
nap.
good. You're good. You just had this one piece
Um,
that was like whoop, and I just kept staring at it.
well, and I touch my hair a lot, so
You're good.
well, thank you. There you go. There's our blooper for this week. Um, all right, so we are going to go into backmasking.
Yeah, we are.
Vin,
Yeah,
what do you know about backmasking?
it's the devil's work. They sneak in stuff in the music. You got to be careful with that.
You
I know that when I was little, I wasn't allowed to listen to Another One Bites the Dust, and I didn't know why. And it was supposedly because of backmasking. But and I know there was supposed to have been one that said "Smoke marijuana, get high." I don't know what song said that.
I even looked that one up because you had mentioned it before and I couldn't find it either. So I
I
think
looked
that
it up too. I think it was just one of those
urban legend things. Yeah, that
gossip through the church.
maybe. Well,
What do you know about
interesting.
backmasking?
Well, interestingly,
Mm-hmm.
backmasking kind of started with my all-time favorite band, The
Oh,
Beatles.
the Beatles.
The Beatles. And from the moment they were on Ed Sullivan, everybody knew they were evil with their matching suits and their
And that
little polished
hair.
boots and that, you know, wild hair. But yes, I love that they were awful and they were wearing matching suits. But anyway, um, so I'm going to tell you, since we had talked about that you did not know this story. So the Beatles sort of embraced intentional backmasking, which isn't really quite the same. They would put um, little messages in forward music.
Mhm.
So, and I do think they had in Revolution number nine, there's supposed to be something, and I have to look that one up. But I know a lot about the actual hidden things that they did. So the rumor, if anybody doesn't know this rumor, it became a rumor that Paul McCartney died and he was actually replaced by a guy who I can't remember his name now, and that's really bad. I should remember it. but he won the Paul McCartney lookalike contest. So they just took him and stuck him into the band, and actually
It
the
just
lookalike,
replaced poor Paul.
right, and the lookalike has been Paul McCartney ever since, and he's still Paul McCartney.
To
So
this
anyway,
day.
the Beatles loved this. They thought this was hilarious. So they started planting little misunderstood things in their songs. Like at the end of Strawberry Fields, it sounds like John yells, I buried Paul. Now he claims it says cranberry sauce.
Berry sauce.
But,
How do
you
you
have,
go from
but so this was sort of the beginning, putting these little tidbits in that people would try to find. They definitely did it in their covers too, which wouldn't be backmasking, but they definitely put little things to find that might mean Paul is dead. Um,
poor Paul?
but I did just find that they did do or there is a supposed backwards message in Revolution number 9, which said, Turn me on, dead man.
I've heard of that one actually.
Turn me on, dead.
I didn't remember that it was the Beatles, but I remember it said "Turn me on, dead man, turn me on." But I didn't know what band.
Right. And I don't really know what, I mean, that doesn't, I guess that's evil. I don't know, being turned on by a dead man. I don't know. But
I was gonna
it,
say. Well, I was trying to think of the word for it, but I know that's the wrong word. I'm
like
not much into dead bodies, but I know there's a word.
necrophilia.
That's it. That's I was thinking of Necronomicon. I'm like, wait a minute. That has to do with the dead, but that's not do it. Do it
With
with
the
the
dead. Yeah.
dead.
Well, I don't, somehow this is also supposed to tie into the Paul is dead theory, a conspiracy. I guess, I don't know. So here we are. We've started. The Beatles are kind of embracing this like idea that they can put subliminal things in and feed this rumor. Um,
How did
and
Paul die, supposedly? I don't remember hearing that part.
yes, he supposedly died and actually on the Abbey Road cover. So when they're walking across the crosswalk, if you look at the cars, there's a Beetle parked, and the license plate says 28F or
But
28IF, which is
how
supposed what?
how did he die?
In a car crash.
Oh,
He-
okay. Okay.
because I know all the things. So he would have been 28 if he had lived. That's what that license plate's supposed to mean. On the Sergeant Pepper's album, all the lyrics are printed on the back album cover, and uh, one of them, it might be fake Paul, is
Mm,
pointing to where he points is a lyric for A Day in the Life, which says he blew his mind out in a car.
uh
So it was supposed to be a car crash that he died in. But I argue that if this man has been the Paul lookalike, has been Paul all these years, then he really is Paul now.
he is Paul.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a done deal. He's Paul. We can't really.
Well, I'm
So
sure
anyway,
he legally changed his name, so he is Paul.
right, right. So I want to say his name was like Craig something or something. But um so this sort of started this idea of putting subliminal things in. But this isn't probably when parents were like jumping on the this is bad.
No, I had read something that Lennon had was experimenting with um having recording his vocals and then reversing them and adding them to some of the songs for just artistic sounds and stuff like that. So he
Yeah,
actually
and they
was
did that.
recording his vocals.
Right. Well, and they did that with a lot of like even the instruments. They'd record like Ringo's drums backwards and see how it sounded in the song. So they were really into experimenting, but they also like to mess with people's heads, I think. So this sort of started that idea. But
Deadfall.
when did it all go horribly wrong and it became now children are being corrupted because they're subliminally such a hard word.
Subliminally.
No, see, I can't say it. You have to say it now. That um they are picking up these, you know, messages. They
One
don't
they're
even know
sub
it because it's backwards. It's just in the music. And the number one culprit of that, to start with, I would say, I would argue, people can jump in and tell me if they disagree, would be Led Zeppelin. Because
Ooh.
Led Zeppelin had a lot of rumors around them already that were dark. Jimmy Page lived in Aleister Crowley's mansion. He bought it. It's supposed to be evil, haunted.
Now he was the one that wrote the Satanic Bible, right?
He was
Wasn't it Aleister Crowley?
he was older than that. Maybe. I don't know. He was around for he was like the something of the Golden
Oh no,
Dawn,
that was LeVay.
Yeah, that was he was very 70s.
Yeah.
Under
Okay.
and uh Antoine
And
LaVey or
yeah, and Anton LeVay or
Anton LaVey. Yeah, he
yeah.
was the head of
Okay.
the yeah. Um no, Aleister Crowley was a practice it was supposed to be a well, I mean he was self-proclaimed. He owned it. He was a practicing like wizard, witch, warlock type. And he was a little dark. But there has always been a rumor that Led Zeppelin sold their souls to the devil for their fame. So they're
Mm.
already like on the list of like, and then of course they're gonna have backwards messages
Of
in their
course.
songs. And what would be the song that you would guess would have a backwards satanic message?
Something about heaven.
Yes. Stairway to Heaven. That's the best one to put a backwards satanic. Sorry,
Ding ding ding.
we already have a visitor. Um,
Yay, it's Vinny.
um, but
Vinny the mascot.
he is. Hello, say hello.
Vinny's
Um,
like, I am not looking.
he won't look. He's like, I shall pose majestically. Um, yes, it was Stairway to Heaven. And what did it say?
I don't know.
Well, even again, if this was backwards, is this really going to make you join a cult? Is this worth like being terrified that your child listens to it? Because backwards, it was supposed to say, "Here's to you, my sweet Satan." I mean,
Well, what's so stupid is there's subliminal messaging that you can like order to, like you can download stuff for self hypnosis,
mhm,
and it's not backwards because our brain can't understand backwards talking. So it's not going to go into the subconscious because it's not the language that we can comprehend. So I don't know why they thought that was going to affect people anyways. It's just ridiculous. But
right, right. Well, exactly. I mean, and if you're taking all this time to then put the album on the turntable and spin it backwards and it's just it seems like a lot of work to try to start a cult. I think you could be a lot more straightforward about this. We've seen it time and again. You
yeah,
can
all
just
they have to do is whisper. If they would just whisper it and embed it in the music normally, then it would go in the subconscious. But
right,
backwards
right,
is not going to do any good.
right. So apparently people have heard this though.
Mm,
But and we've practiced this word and I've already promptly forgotten it.
you, I didn't practice it. Dough, something about Play-Doh.
No. Um
Play-Doh.
scrolling away here. It is called parad
You can do it. I know you can do this. Subliminal messages are coming towards you. Something
para
about
pareidolia. I've got it. And
something
that
about
is
Homer.
where somebody tells you what it says so you can hear it. Um, but if you were just listening to it without them telling you, you might not hear that at all. It's just suggesting it to you, and then suddenly you can hear it. So they're saying that a lot of these backwards messages were pareidolia, and
Yeah, because you can hear just about. I mean, it's just like when you hear animal sounds. You can convince yourself if you want to that your cat is saying hello, or I mean,
Right,
a lot of times it does sound like hello. I mean, it really does. But you can hear all kinds of sounds, and you can imagine that it's something else. Didn't
right.
you say that the visual thing's called the same thing too, where you see like faces in the clouds and stuff like that?
Yes. And I used to do that at our cottage in Maine because we had the rough wood walls, so you had the knots, the wood knots, and you could see like faces in the but and I thought those were pretty evil when I was scared in the middle at night. I'd be like, I don't like that. But we're gonna go on. So you already brought up another one bites the dust. Well, this one's pretty fun too. I mean, would argue that they should have been more scared of the sweet Satan thing because their backwards message was supposed to be it's fun to smoke marijuana. And that, yes, that was in another one bites the dust.
And I listened to that at school secretly in the fourth grade, and I never smoked marijuana.
You didn't have like a
To this
massive.
day, I never. I know people think I do, but I have never.
Well,
I'm
do you?
naturally like
It, but was a craving there?
this. This is all I wanted. Right. I think it said, "Eat M&Ms, get high." Well, I
Yes,
did. Maybe I misunderstood because I
I
was
did.
a child.
You were. But
Yeah.
yes, so supposedly another one bites the dust, played backwards, is it's fun to smoke marijuana. Now, Freddie Mercury denied this, but found the whole thing really hilarious.
I
So
bet
I
he
think
thought it was fun.
he thoroughly enjoyed that that's supposedly what was in there. Okay, so Electric Light Orchestra in their song "Fire on High," which actually I don't know. I know a lot of I know a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
don't know that
ELO.
one. I love yellow, but I don't know.
Yes, yeah, I do too. They actually did deliberately put a backwards message in, so it is possible. And but I don't think these other people, where the families were, and the churches were going crazy, that was all false. But they deliberately put in, which says, music is reversible, but time is not. Turn back, turn back. So I guess they were trying to say, stop wasting your time spinning this record backwards. So it was well received by the fans. The fans thought it was hilarious. They like to go on and try to find it. Apparently, critics didn't get the joke. I don't know what there is to not get, but
Wasn't there another one that wrote something funny? I wrote it down, but I don't have my glasses on.
it was Pink Floyd.
That's what it was. What was it? What was it that they wrote? They wrote
Um,
purposely as a joke.
They did. They wrote purposely, congratulations, you have discovered the secret message. And that was in Empty Spaces. So that was on the Wall album, which the Wall album's pretty trippy forward. So but yes, they did actually put that in. And what reaction did they get? Not, oh, it's funny from the people who were terrified of this. No, they were being mocked. Mocked about what was a real valid concern, which is their children were going to be influenced and possessed and join a cult.
They probably thought that was also proof that they had been doing it the whole time.
Yes, I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure. Um, let's see, we'll find a couple more. Apparently sticks. And this was one that apparently religious groups went after, and they
Oh, I
used
wasn't.
this.
I could not listen to that band. I was not allowed to.
Okay. Well, Styx, supposedly, but they don't claim this, that they did this on purpose or that it even says this. But on the song Snowblind, which I don't know, played backwards, it supposedly says Satan moves through our voices. So I feel like if you're gonna put backwards messages, you could do a lot better than these ones. Satan moves through our voices.
I was just literally remembering there was something in my mom's church where they were talking about how all of these groups that were doing the backmasking, they all belong to like the Church of Satan or something, and that most of the proceeds that they got from the albums went to spread the word of Satan as like, oh, what do you call it? Well, like when people are out preaching the word of
Oh,
God,
like yeah,
but all of their money, or just about all their money,
proselytizing, is that
yeah,
the?
that's what they were ministering to the world,
Mm-hmm.
trying to get more followers to the Church of Satan. But
Mm.
they had told everyone that all these bands actually were Satan worshipers and they belonged to the Church of Satan.
Okay. Well, I mean, Styx seems like a
Yeah,
prime.
they were really, really upset with them and just the name.
Yes.
So,
Well, and Led Zeppelin, they did, they were kind of a wild
oh, and
and
Ozzy, you can't forget Ozzy.
right. And weirdly enough, Ozzy doesn't come up. I think Black Sabbath did come up, but Ozzy doesn't come up
He was
as
just panic. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I don't think there was any way to like subliminally hint
you
at that.
can't.
He was just in your face.
Yeah, there was nothing subliminal about Ozzy.
Um, so this all became a huge panic. Of course, we know the Satanic Panic that just was what you had to be up in arms about everything. Pretty much everything youth liked. You had to be
Exactly.
like,
Anything that you were passionate about,
mm,
obviously that's satanic.
right. Now, but there was one group that it actually made it to the courts. So,
Of course.
yes. And it was Judas Priest. So, okay, we're already got to draw some attention, I'm sure, with the name. Judas Priest was brought to court because in 1985, two young men tried to take their lives by their own hand. I don't even think that they did. I didn't see that they actually passed. Um, but they were still taken to court by the parents because this was influenced. And I'm gonna not remember the name of the song because it was called the song that particular that they were being sued about was called Better by You, Better Than Me. And this is the huge message that affected these young men so much that they tried to take their own lives. Backwards, it said, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
That was probably Nike.
Exactly.
Early.
I mean, do it could be like, do it, pray, do
I
it,
wasn't
go
thinking
to
about
church.
praying.
But well, yeah, I know you weren't, but
If
but
somebody's listening to music like that and they're saying do it, I would say it's a little pervy. I wouldn't be thinking about hurting myself.
no, no, I agree, I agree. But I mean, honestly, do it could refer to
Anything.
anything. But they were taken to court for this. And the lead singer, when asked on the stand if they intentionally had it say do it to encourage the youth to take their own lives, he said, quite rightfully, why would we try to kill off our fan base? We want to sell records. Uh, That's an argument you can't really fight against. I mean,
Not a
that's
good marketing ploy.
not at all. So, needless to say, Judas Priest was not found liable for this. I couldn't find too much about. I mean, I would assume, and I did have something, but I lost it because that's what I do. Um, I would assume it was the parents who made that decision because I do wonder if the the young men were just like in the back, like, oh my gosh, or maybe I don't know. It's like, how did this even go down? Like, um, it
Well, they
seems
want to blame somebody, so blame the music.
blame the
It's
music.
always the music.
And actually, there's some argument too that even the ones that are intentionally put in don't really sound completely like what they're supposed to say because it is hard to manipulate to make that sound. So again, it's just you hearing what you've been told it should say. Uh, so yes, but the churches and the frightened parents believed it was hidden evil influences. It was proof that music could control your child's behavior, and it gave us a reason to censor rock and metal music.
Yeah, that group I was telling you about, PMRC, Parents Music Resource Center, they went after the bands and the music industry for, they were trying to, not the parental advisory stickers, it was before that time, but they went after them hard in the courts saying that they were like, you know, damaging the children and all the violence it was causing for the children, and it was just
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that being like, oh, this is and of course kids loved it, so they spread it. It goes back to that you spread the rumors too, like, did you know? Did you know? Um, but yeah, so I'm curious about the people out there watching us. First of all, did you ever put an album on and try to get it to play the message backwards? What did you hear? Did you hear something that we did not mention? Um, did your parents have some opinions on this? Were you not allowed to buy certain albums because your parents heard there were backwards messages? I mean, it's pretty fascinating. Again, again, Satanic Panic, nothing was safe. Like everything. And I mean, music's always been
Oh yeah.
on the uh,
Always. It was always the music that they used to listen to, and it was just turning them wild.
mm-hmm, it
Now
was.
the that song, Darling Nikki by Prince,
Mm-hmm.
do it, do it, do it. Anyways, when you get to the end of that song, you'll hear that that really weird warbly. That actually is backward music and vocals, but it's not actually saying anything because Prince just liked to experiment with sound, being such an amazing musician, anyways. He was always experimenting and he would try to hear and play different instruments and then listen to it backwards. And that's what's on the end of that song, but it doesn't actually say anything because I looked it up and I have the
Well,
record.
and it didn't really need to because Darling Nikki kind of
That
said
said
it
it all.
straightforward.
Yeah,
It said it straightforward.
there
But
was no subliminals there.
no, not even it wasn't subtle at all.
Yeah.
um, in fact, that's one of the only songs that I remember my mother yelling at me for playing. She was like, "What did that say?" And who this was a woman who thought the song "Stroke Me" or "Stroke" by Billy Squire said "Strongman Snoopy."
Strong man Snoopy. That's great.
And it actually, the uh what was it again? Parad
I forgot the word. Dough. Play-Doh. Just call it play.
parad Paradolia. Um, if you listen to that song, I will argue with you. Once you now know it says Strongman Snoopy, you will hear Strongman Snoopy. But I was like, "Yep, Mom, that's exactly what it says, Strongman Snoopy."
I don't remember when I first heard the actual Darlin' Nikki song because obviously they couldn't play it on the radio and I couldn't buy that. The first record or the first cassette tape I bought, I think I was 16 and I was working, so I had my own money. And my mom dropped me off at the mall with a friend, and I bought George Michael's Faith, but I had to hide that because it had "I
Mhm.
Want Your Sex" on it.
Yep.
Plus, he was wearing an earring with a cross. And my
Mm.
mom's church, they don't do crosses. So I had to hide the whole thing. I was like,
Oh gosh.
yeah, it was a really good album, though. But I did not hear Darling Nikki until I was like probably almost 30 years old. And I was like, whoa.
That's so I had that. I actually little flashback of showing my exact age. I saw Purple Rain probably 4 times in the movie theater. I love that.
I
And
did not
I
see that till I was about 30. And I was like, there's boobies in this movie.
not to mention I watched it on like VH1 one night, like late at night. as an, much older. And I was like, wait a minute, they were supposed to be like right out of high school? Like, I think they were supposed to be really young. And I'm like, nobody seemed particularly young in that to
They
me.
look like they were at least 28.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, I didn't realize this was supposed to be like him trying to make it big, like right out of high school.
I didn't know there was nudity in it. I was just like, but I wasn't allowed to watch anything that was over PG, and even that was pushing it. So
That's
I was naive. I was sheltered.
See, I had like just such a different. I was watching American Werewolf in London over and over and over, and I don't know, you haven't seen it
I
yet.
still
So
need.
there's a shower scene in there that I was watching in like junior high. So I know. That's why I grew up to write smut.
Well, I
Um,
made up for lost time. Now I write smut.
there you go. See, you get to it
I
eventually.
was a late bloomer, but I made up for lost time.
There you go. Um, So yeah, I mean, I'll be really interested to see if anybody did do this because to be honest with you, I don't think I ever did.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, but we had like the albums we had was like Captain and Tennille. There was no Muskrat Love talking about Satan. It was pretty tame.
What what would be on Muskrat Love? Um,
Do it. Do it.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like it has to be like something hate. It has to be the opposite. Oh, we have the cat coming now too. So, um,
Oh, I was gonna mention too the contrast between the United States
mm,
with the backmasking compared to the UK.
okay,
That is crazy. I mean, it makes sense because everyone knows in the United States, if you fall over your own foot in front of a restaurant, you're probably going to sue the restaurant. That's
mm,
what we do here. We sue everybody. And that's
mhm,
exactly what they did. They were suing the record labels, they were suing the artists. In England, that's not very common. You don't just take something to court. That's frivolous. They're not even going to listen to that nonsense. So that the way their society was, they found it amusing, silly. Like with Ozzy, he was just his personality was the madman. He was
mhm,
supposed to be like that. That was his persona. And it was just endearing to them because that's who he was. So when they would hear these rumors, it was kind of like the way the Ouija board was when it first started. It was just an answer
right.
board. It didn't mean anything. So when they would hear the rumors about it, they would try to listen to it at parties and think it was funny. But there was never that, the Catholic Church never jumped onto that bandwagon. That's
Hmm.
more for the Baptists and the Jehovah's Witnesses, or even any of them really in the United States. But over there, it was just like, it was just silly and it was interesting to them, but it was just kind of silly.
Well, and I feel like that was even true of like the Beatles. I feel like they were sort of like, you know, okay, the wacky mop tops. And
Yeah.
over here we were like,
The
and
fetal invasion. Ah, what is
right,
it
well,
doing to our youth?
John Lennon sort of, they had the big Beatles record burning. They'd have the bonfires where they burned all the Beatles records because John made that comment about we're more
That
important to
God is,
teenagers than Jesus.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
he referred, yeah,
more
like
famous than
something to
Jesus
that,
or something like that.
more famous and then there was all the record burning. So they did get themselves into some trouble that way, but and and John being John, he sort of doubled. I mean, he kind of apologized, but he sort of doubled down in his apology. So, and that's
He
very
was my
John. I mean,
favorite
when
Beatle. He was my favorite. Now, which one was your favorite? I'm trying
George,
to.
which is
George.
interesting because I don't tend to be particularly religious, but I do find spirituality is cool to me. But he was definitely my favorite. I like
Now,
big
George.
ears, so
George was in the Traveling Wilburys, wasn't he?
hmm yeah,
I loved them
yep.
songs,
So
man. That was such a great album with Roy Orbison
mhm.
and Tom
And
Petty
Tom
and
Petty.
who was the? There was one more. Who's the other one?
It was Jeff Lynne from ELO. So it was Jeff Lynne, Tom Petty, um,
Roy Orbison.
Roy Orbison, Bob Dylan,
Bob.
Bob
Oh,
and George Harrison.
that
And
was such
actually
a great group.
I have a manifestation story
Mm.
about that.
Oh, let's hear it.
So in high school, I wrote for the entertainment of my friends, I wrote a Beatles book. And we all had our Beatle. And of course, I had George. And even though I didn't really know I didn't know I was doing it, I was telling us you couldn't just go along and have everything going great, right? You couldn't just write your like daydream of like, oh, I'm with George and we're skipping on the beach or whatever. And so you had to have drama.
Of
So
course.
my drama was that I saw him with who was his real life wife in the 60s, Patty Boyd. And so I left with Tom Petty, which was just arbitrary. I just happened to pick like I like Tom Petty and I'm gonna pick Tom Petty. And very shortly after that, the Traveling Wilburys announced that they were, and I'm like, I had put them together in the book and I had all this drama and they had a big argument. And
You
so
started it all.
I brought them together. I brought them together. I'm convinced of it. But I mean I've talked to people that like for those who you who don't know, my day job is I work at a assisted living, so around the elderly a lot. And I've asked them a lot about like, do you remember the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and da, da. And it is still a reaction to be like, oh yes, yes. Like, and I'm like, I'm looking at them thinking, did you see all the stuff that happened after that? Like, did you ever see Motley Crue? Because things went drastically more. But
Well, I gotta tell you a funny story about the Beatles with my mom. I think you'll get a kick out of it. My mom, I guess, was a teenager at that time.
mm,
I don't know exactly how old. She got pregnant with my sister fairly young, but um, she was basically a naturalist. She stayed in the woods all the time. She studied animals. She was obsessed with bugs and all that stuff. Well, she started hearing rumors about a beetle invasion. And she was so excited because she thought it was a new species of bug that was coming to the East Coast, being in Vermont. And when she found out that it was just a rock band, she was so upset and so angry because she was like, finally, everyone else is getting so excited about something that I care about, which is bugs. And then it was just like, these stupid guys with this stupid hair. She was so mad. She never
that
listened to them ever.
that is so funny.
I was like,
I
of
know, and then
course,
you
my mother.
when you think about going back sort of to tie it back in how the fam, parents reacted so strongly and you think to yourself, I want to hold your hand, and they're getting like worked up. It can't be much more innocuous than that. Like, I want to hold your hand. Oh, scandalous. um so it is really interesting to see how things change. But yeah, I mean, things did get wilder in the 70s. So but so did the belief systems behind all these, like, I mean, Satanic Panic is endlessly fascinating to me because like what they could turn into, like, oh, I mean, really we started off with the powerhouse because the toys are just like, are you serious? Like, but
The toy.
music I understand because that's always been, I mean, I think that at one point wasn't there some scandalous like Pat Boone was a little too, like, I might be making that up because that's a really good story. Like,
I know there was a scandal in my mom's church about John Denver, if you can believe that. Now, my aunt, who I cannot stand, and she cannot stand me, she was obsessed with him. She thought he was so cute. And every time they would pick us up for church, we'd ride in their van and she'd be listening in her 8 track, John Denver. Well, come to find out, he had an interview one time and he said something negative about Jehovah's Witnesses. Heaven forbid, he made a comment about basically he didn't particularly care for that particular group of people that kept coming to his door. And after that, the whole religion just, or what do they call it now when you get rid of people and that's famous?
Canceled.
They
Call
canceled him because he was like everyone's favorite because he was just so about the nature and it just everything was peaceful and just like canceled John Denver. And the burning of the records, it was crazy because all these satanic albums with the if they had the backmasking, they would claim that when you burned it you would see like devils and stuff in the smoke. There's chemicals in there. You're gonna see some shit. Of
You're
course you're
probably breathing in some serious
yeah, you're probably not real healthy breathing that. But yeah, there was bonfires like crazy. But there's always been. First
right.
they burned books, then they burned the music. Now we're back to burning books.
Yeah, we're back to burning books.
Like,
Well, so we do want to hear more of your, I really do want to hear other bands that you heard were like absolutely
yeah.
satanic and if you want anything, send us stories. We always want the stories. And speaking of stories, next week we're going to have our first listener tales because
Yay.
we have gotten quite a few stories about Ouija boards.
Ooh,
So I knew
Ouija.
Ouija, I know I say Ouija, you say Ouija.
Me, come and see, come and saw. 6 7
Tomato, tomato, tomato,
six.
tomato.
See, that's what I keep trying to tell people. Don't get mad about the 6 7. We've been saying this for years, man. It's the same thing. My dad used, what was it? In for a penny, out. What was that other expression? Out for a pound, in for a pound, in for a penny. What was that other
In for a
saying?
penny. Yeah, in for a penny, in for a pound. No.
Same thing. My dad would say, oh, he had a really weird one. I can't even remember it now because it's got numbers involved, but it's the same thing. 6 7, 6 7.
A stitch in time saves nine.
His was like, I kind of can't even think about it now because it literally is about numbers.
That's
Can't remember.
Oh, and that's actually something you just made me think about it. But people, pipe in. Do you want us to do an episode? Because even though it's not spooky or weird, we've got to talk at some point about Schoolhouse Rocks.
We'll have to.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Conjunction junction, what's your function? Oh.
What is your function? I'd like to know. I would like to know what is your function.
Well, I should be able to answer that it would by from the song, but I'm gonna have to re-listen to that so I can answer you. Um, but yes, next week will be listener tales, Ouija boards. We're gonna try to get more shorts, not literal shorts, but short videos.
Oh, shorts.
I know all you ladies want Vin's shorts, but
They're Calvin
but these
Klein.
are gonna be video shorts of our video to keep you tied over to what's a
Tied up,
past
tied
tense of
down,
tied. Anyway,
zip tied. What?
yeah, that one I'm confused about. But and yeah, so we're gonna read you some great stories from some of our listeners. Please send more stuff. And honestly, anything you can think of that's weird, we will take it all because I think we're gonna cover
Give it,
a
give it, give it.
bunch, a bunch, bunch. So, do you want to close out? Put you on the spot again. You're like, no, no.
No.
Okay.
No.
Subscribe.
Oh, yeah. What's she said?
Subscribe, follow, like, join Substack. I'm gonna have it all down in the notes on this video because soon we shall be starting book club, like sooner than you think. So
Yay.
get over there. And let's see. That is it. But like. And another thing, tell people
Yeah,
about
if you
this.
guys can share any of our videos on Facebook, that would help so, so much. Even like when I post a link to it, if you just share it onto your page, that really helps a lot. Or you
Yep,
can just
because
get the link from YouTube and just share it on the Facebook as well. And that puts us out there. because we're still new.
We're new.
We're
And
new.
also, we are Gen X. We're already the forgotten generation. So it's time to make a big podcast
Don't
about
forget
Gen X.
us.
Um, so anyway, I think that is it. Don't listen to your albums backwards unless you want to.
Do it, do it, do it, do it.
That's right, unless you want to do it, or you
Listen to
want,
them backwards.
or you want to join a satanic cult, which you will do promptly as soon as you listen to it backwards.
You
Sweet
can't help
Satan,
it.
sweet Satan. Um,
It'll come to you. You'll get a letter in the mail saying you have qualified.
it'll be just like
Congratulations.
send 2 pennies. It's just like Columbia House Records.
It's more like Publishers Clearinghouse or box tops. You can cut out 2 box tops of your cereal. Fruit Loops, send it in, and you qualify for a membership in the
And actually, speaking of
club.
records, though, I want people to tell me how many of you still owe money to Columbia House Records. I guarantee you that me, oh my
In
goodness.
several names.
Me too. Me too. That was the worst plan that any company ever had. Anyway, all right. Have a good evening, everyone. And we will see you next week.
Bye.